Good morning, folks. Welcome to another episode of Spilling Tea. I'm your host, Tiffany Daniels. We're going to that horrible world known as the JRC. But before we do, some disclaimers, all right? Okay, you're going to see a lot of videos coming out this week with me in the blue shirt. Folks, what I'm doing today is I'm going to start on my weekends front loading all my videos for the entire week. I didn't appreciate working as much as I did this past week, but getting the necessary levels of sleep actually probably is the only reason why I was able to get through said week. So I'm going to start doing that. So you're going to start seeing me in videos wearing the same exact clothing because I'm doing them all in the same day. Okay? All right. So, speaking of interesting things and how two communities intersect once again, I got some tea. I know if you watched some of the stream I did last night, granted it was short because I was brain dead, but I found some interesting tea on one of the experts for Amber. Mrs. Dr. Jessica Taylor. Some of us have had the misfortune of dealing with her. Come to find out through one of my folks in the actually autistic community, Miss Dr. Jessica Taylor has zilch clinical experience. None, zip, nada, nothing. Nor does she have the kind of PhD that would lead to make her a clinical diagnostician. And it also puts the lie to her words that she has had one-on-ones with victims of abuse. The fact of the matter is, this doctor has not had a one-on-one with anyone ever in any capacity whatsoever. None. None. None in official capacity whatsoever. She doesn't believe autism exists, or ADHD, or any other type of neurodivergence. She believes these are all trauma responses. Matter of fact, this person says that schizophrenia doesn't exist. These are the people that are being retreated by the media, folks. These are the people who are signing that letter. Oh, it gets better. There's a particular degree that she says that she has obtained from her alma mater, Birmingham. Come to find out that that particular college does not have a program for forensic psychology. She therefore lied. And leave it to the autistic community to go digging for receipts, right? There's a common thing that a lot of neurotypicals seem to fucking forget. Never fuck with the autistic community. Because a lot of us, we like our research and we like our receipts. And if you're going to be a complete ableistic fucking piece of human garbage, we're going to go digging. And when we go dig, if you've got anything other than your ducks in a row, especially if you've got a PhD, we're going to find out. We're going to expose you. Because, folks, this is what we do best. So I'm going to include that link about Dr. Jessica in the description. I'm trying to get the article out to some of the bigger channels because I believe it deserves a wider audience. But I want you guys to read it because it is gold. Pure, absolute, unadulterated gold. When you've got a psychologist that refuses to use the DSM-5, who discounts it as so much garbage. When you have someone who claims personality disorders don't exist, when we all know for a fact that they do, with a long clinical history and case studies on them, yeah, it's so good it must be fattening. So, Lesson to learn, neurotypical society. Don't expect to lie to us and not have us figure it out. And above all, never fuck with the autistic community. Never fuck with the neurodivergent community, because we're going to find you out. And then we are going to spread that information to all others who can see through your bullshit. You can't tote that you're an expert with a PhD when none of it shows you have any experience at all in the particular situation that you're commenting on at hand. Remember when I told you you could have a PhD from an Ivy League school and know absolutely fucking nothing about autism? This is my case in point. I told you all from the very beginning that there were some absolute blatant ableist tropes and bullshit and slurs being thrown at JD through the entire trial. And many of the people who support AH were indeed ableist themselves and were targeting him because he's a little odd, just like the rest of us. I think I just proved my point, so please, again, read that article. All right. Back to the JRC, folks. In the description box, you're going to find a link to the article that the Judge Rotenberg Educational Center doesn't want you to read. It is written by NeuroClastic, a small non-for-profit started by autistics for autistics, wherein they interviewed and surveyed over 900 ABA professionals in regards to the JRC's quote-unquote behavioral modification program. Matter of fact, the JRC doesn't want you to read this article, so Brad, they have threatened NeuroClastic with a defamation lawsuit if they do not remove it from the website. NeuroClastic has refused. So you know the drill, folks. Please share that article on all your social media. We also have the public statement from NeuroClastic in regards to the defamation lawsuit threat, as well as a link to their GoFundMe. We are crowdfunding, folks, in case the JRC actually has the balls to see through with their threat. We also have the pertinent links to the Agape boarding school situation. Agape boarding school is a Christian-themed boarding school based out of Stockton, Missouri that has and pending over 21 civil lawsuits, allegations, and claims leveled against it, all which have been substantiated with hard evidence by the Missouri Department of Social Services. These allegations and claims include sodomy and rape, sexual assault of the students there, child abuse, psychological and emotional abuse, child trafficking, and starvation, and we're just touching the surface. We have had one former staff member arrested by the FBI, another a doctor who's still on the premises with full access to the boys, upon multiple substantiated claims by the Missouri Department of Social Services of sodomy, rape, and sexual assault on the boys there, and is now staring down prison time. We have an attorney general who refuses to do jack shit other than, mega talking points. We're going to go after Dr. Fauci. Last time I checked, Dr. Fauci didn't, sodomize a bunch of fucking boys. Last time I checked, he was not up in regards to horrific physical and psychological abuse on children. Last I heard, he hasn't actually raped anyone. But we're going to let the real pedophiles and predators go and instead just beat the drum to this absolutely useless, brain-dead agenda of the fucking right. There's some things I really can't stand about the left either. There's a reason why I'm fucking dead center, folks. But anyways, so we've got that guy. We've got our current Missouri governor who is on a massive power trip from hell. So please share those articles and links on all your social media. Don't forget to sign and share the change.org Shut Agape Boarding School Down petition. Got the pertinent links to the Stop the Shocks campaign as well, including Autistic Hoya's massive archive on the subject, the templates, and the ever-present self-explanatory change.org Shut the Judge Roberg Center down petition. When we discuss the JRC, folks, you're going to hear vivid descriptions of and catch clips of surveillance footage of people with disabilities being tortured and abused. If you got young children present, please use your headphones, all right? All right, so let's go where we left off a couple of days ago. And get to it. Okay, so we already went over that. Oh, yes, a couple of others. Sorry. And did I mention I'm brain dead? This is what working nonstop for an entire week and putting 57 goddamn hours in a single week does to you. Especially when you have to mask all 57 of those hours. Please kill me. But, okay. This channel is blah, blah, blah. Folks, when we discuss the JRC, you're going to hear vivid descriptions of and catch clips or surveillance footage of people with disabilities being tortured and abused. If you got young children present, please use your headphones. This channel is marked not for children for a reason. We use profanity and talk about dark subjects. If your child is 16 and under, please, parental supervision. It's 11:33 a.m. I am obviously not able to brain today, so apologies for that. And also, we are about to descend into the mad ravings of the lunatic mind known as Dr. Matthew Israel. You're going to hear gaslighting, victim blaming, ableism all around, and just some general stupid and some out and out lies. So, be prepared for that. All right, let's move on to this insanity. In behavioral treatment of severe problem behaviors such as violent aggression or dangerous self-injurious behavior, the following are types of procedures that are normally employed. I am going to go off on this tangent because it blows my mind that I live in 2022 and there are still some morons out there who can't tell the difference between a behavioral disorder and a neurological disorder. These things are not the same creatures, folks. Behavioral disorders is when behaviors, they're not a byproduct. They're up front and center. Neurological disorders that might result in some behaviors is not the same thing at all, because these behaviors are not being developed as a coping mechanism or any other type of thing you can think of. They're coming directly from our neurology when our neurology and who we are as autistic and neurodiverse human beings get affected. They're a byproduct. ABA puts it front and center when it shouldn't be. It's a neurological, it's not behavioral. That's why behavioral psychology doesn't fucking work. ABA operates under this idea that if you make somebody repeat something often enough, it will become ingrained in them and become a part of them. We're not like you. Okay? You can make me perform the same type of correct behavior over 1,000 times in a row. If I am impacted by something outside my control that hits my neurology in a certain way, it doesn't matter how many times you've drilled something into my head. I'm going to react as a neurodivergent, not as a neurotypical. And the reason why that is because that's what I am. That's how my mind works. That's why, even with masking, most neurotypicals, even if they can't put their finger on it, will still know you're different. Okay? But anyways, perform a functional assessment to determine what events may be strengthening the inappropriate behaviors that are treated, when events may be triggered by behaviors, what events are rewarding to the individual, etc. This sounds reasonable. Sounds like typical psychology. You want to know why it's not? Because in their functional assessments, the JRC doesn't do a well-rounded functional assessment. What it should look like is not just focusing on the damn behaviors. JRC is obsessed with behaviors. They think that that's the only thing that matters. They do not come with a well-rounded functional assessment because everything they do is centered around behaviors. That's why they are fucking pants when it comes to being an actual school. A real functional assessment should include some of the following. Yes, you do need to deep dive into what's causing the triggers. JRC says they do, but they're operating off of a false pretense that is prevalent through ABA. They think they know what causes the behaviors. The only type of nuances that they search for is they try to find out why we are wanting attention or manipulating. Fact of the matter is, we're not doing either of these things. So whatever they come up with is going to be completely false. Because they don't talk to us. They talk at us. There is no two-way conversation. They already know everything. Right? They know everything. They know what motivates us and all this shit. Because they're doctors, and trust me, bruh, when what comes out of their mouths is absolute medical model fucking garbage. They have no idea what motivates neurodivergence. They have no idea that these behaviors are not willful. Yeah. A real functional assessment not only delves into the behaviors that have become problematic and make it harder for us to integrate into community. It requires a conversation with the patients. I know, revolutionary concept, right? It means an actual give and take conversation with the person being assessed. Which means, so these are the behaviors that you are having and how they're affecting you. So, what are you feeling when these happen? Is there something triggering it? Or if you're younger, even, what is the event or what happened right before you went into the behavior? Because that is point blank and upfront, folks. We are talking about something triggered. Something happened. Something even broke the straw that broke the camel's back. That's part of a functional assessment. It also covers things of areas of where are we now, educational-wise, maturity-wise, life skills-wise. Where are we overall? You seeing what I'm saying? Okay, where do we need to improve? But it also includes something that the JRC and a lot of these places never include. What are our strengths? Where do we want to build on these strengths? How may we use these strengths as a key and way to help us better integrate into the community? How might we use these strengths to even assist in having this person go into a career? What is the type of reasonable accommodations and other types of helps and aids that we can use to help them achieve their goals? That's a full functional assessment. It assesses where you are, not just with behaviors, but where you are, period. The good, the bad, the indifferent. That's a real functional assessment. What the JRC does is completely fucking backwards sideways. It's a take a left turn and take another left turn, go about 7 miles, take another left, and all of a sudden we're in like acid trip hell. Their functional assessment doesn't care what the strengths are. They don't care about improving upon those strengths, even though they say they do. They don't care to use our neurodivergence in any way as a means in a way that might end up in a rewarding career. They want to take away every single thing about us that makes us neurodivergent out. So they don't give a shit about our strengths or that hyper focus can help us succeed far beyond even our neurotypical peers in a particular field. No, they want to beat it out of us. Yeah. Matter of fact, by your own words, Dr. Israel, you use your functional assessments to find out how better, in particular, to torture a student in order to get what you want. Yeah. Yeah. Everything about the JRC circles on the behaviors. Everything circles around the negative. You can't have a decent functional assessment when all you're focusing on is one niche area of a particular patient and expect it to work. If all you're focusing on is everything that's wrong with the student, and then you wonder why they're suicidal, yeah. How would you like it if somebody basically did nothing but list your faults day after day after day, and all they care about is your faults? And they're going to show you how to do it properly, and if they don't, they're going to punish you. Does that sound like fun? The level of scrutiny that the neurodivergent people we have to go through is way fucking beyond the pale. Way beyond the pale. If we do not perform everything fucking perfectly, fake perfectly, dress like you, talk like you, act like you perfectly, yeah. As far as the stick and carrot routine, the fact that this is even considered legitimate medical practice in 2022 blows my goddamn mind. Blows my mind. Absolute garbage. It's infantilizing as fuck. It insults my intelligence. It insults all of our intelligence. Yes, including the nonverbals, Dr. Israel. Okay? God. Moving on. Use counseling to make use of the student's language abilities and reasoning abilities to persuade him or her to change the behavior. Motherfucking God. First off, doctor, I know for a fact that these kids do not have free use of that counseling. They have to earn the right by proper behaviors in order to have the right to speak to a therapist. So how is this helping? Oh, that's right, it's not. You have to use your language to talk to these professionals so they can convince you to change your behaviors. See, that's kind of hard to do, doctor, when these particular behaviors are not being done willfully. This is something that a lot of these people can't get to seem to get through their thick-ass fucking savior complex skulls. You're trying to convince us to do something, to change something that is occurring due to our own neurology. Does anyone understand how idiotic this sounds? Okay? It's not a willful behavior. I am not logically engaging in a particular behavior in order to manipulate or control anyone. I'm not trying to get an outcome. I'm not trying to get attention. So whatever the counselor is using to convince this poor student from changing the behavior that their neurology is prompting them to have, I can't imagine anything more fucking frustrating. These doctors don't listen to us, folks. It is very rare. It's like finding a fucking unicorn when you find that one doctor that will sit down, shut up, and pay attention. It's not about persuasion. These aren't willful behaviors. You think I would fucking choose to go off my fucking gourd and start slamming my purse into walls, my fists into walls, slamming my head into the floor? You think I'd like grabbing a hairbrush and slamming it into my head with all my strength repeatedly? You think we enjoy this shit? Nah. No, we don't. You think we like snapping and basically turning into the epitome of a human hurricane on PCP? No. No, we don't. We do not enjoy this shit. This is not willful behavior. This is not the behavior of someone that is in their full logical fucking reasoning mindset. It's a person who snapped. Much like when a neurotypical snaps. Only ours is worse. And don't get me started on typals. You don't want to see that shit.
There's property damage.
And we're not talking autistic level property damage, folks. Let's just say that. Okay? There is no convincing us out of these behaviors because we're not doing them willfully. We're not even doing them knowingly. It is pure animal fucking instinct that we're acting on when we are in meltdown. To sit there and say, but I can just reason my way out of it? Good fucking luck. Good luck reasoning with someone who is not in their right mindset. It's like trying to talk down someone with schizophrenia when they're having an episode. Good fucking luck. Okay? That is the most idiotic thing I've seen in a couple of days, and I've been on call center duty for 57 hours. It's not about persuasion, folks. It's a real simple solution to help minimize these behaviors, and JRC keeps missing the goddamn point, just like the rest of the damn medical model. Eliminate any events that appear to be rewarding the problem behavior. This is what I'm talking about. This is the stupidity we're up against. This ABA bullshit that we're getting some type of reward, we're getting some reaction that we want from the behavior. Do you people not understand how a snap works? I'm not trying to get a reward. I'm not trying to get any reaction. I'm not in my fucking right head in a meltdown. At all. Point blank fucking period. There is no reasoning. There is no logic. Knock, knock, nobody the fuck is home, okay? This is what people don't understand about meltdowns. If you want to get to the why, this is not the way to do it. Quit thinking you know everything and what makes us tick. And for the love of God, quit basing it on what you, the neurotypical, would think and do in our situation. Because you don't have the understanding. You really don't. You put your motivations onto us and think that has to absolutely must be it. You're wrong. Okay? I don't get anything rewarding out of a meltdown. There's no reaction that I'm getting out of anyone when I'm in a meltdown. I'm not trying to achieve a goal. I'm not trying to do anything. I am not fucking there. Okay? God. Moving on. Eliminate any events that tend to trigger the occurrence of inappropriate behavior. Funny how you all do that. Since you mentioned trigger. When an autistic is stressed out, when we are not fed properly, or we're not getting proper amounts of sleep, just like a same neurotypical person, when we're being treated as less than fucking human, being shocked for existing while autistic or disabled, do you not consider that a trigger, Dr. Israel? When you actually go out of your way to make bad acid trip sensory hell throughout your school, when part of your very curriculum includes having employees harass and assault students and call them behavioral rehearsal lessons, you don't think that that's a trigger? Because that's not eliminating a trigger. That's creating whole fucking new ones. Let me say that in the back. For those in the back. When you're doing this bizarre shit, you're not getting rid of triggers, you're creating new ones. There's only one way to get rid of or minimize triggers, folks, and that is getting to the heart of the issue. Where is this coming from? Why is it happening? And stop assuming that you know why. What does it say, folks? It's a famous quote in the Bible, right? The wise man knows that he knows nothing. That is the basis and the start of wisdom, realizing that no, you do not know. That is where the medical world should be right now. They should put aside all the shit that they think they know and realize it actually, they don't know anything. To best get an understanding of any neurodiverse disorder, it's communicating with the person who actually has it. Let's move on here. 5. Use rewards for desired behaviors to increase the frequency of those behaviors. This is what I'm talking about when I'm saying operating off of false pretenses. It's this concept that we're doing what we're doing for rewards without this idea. They can't seem to figure out the fact when these behaviors occur, when we are in fucking meltdown. No amount of fucking desired rewards in the world is going to save me. Okay? You can drill those so-called behaviors into me all the fuck you want to. When I snap, they're not going to magically kick in. This is this magical fantasy land thinking that I keep telling you all about. It's garbage. But if you do it with right behaviors, we'll reward you. That's not going to change my neurology, Karen. That's not going to change the fact that if something triggers me, I'm under enough fucking stress as it is, I'm going to snap. I will be self-injurious, and by God, everything inanimate is going through the damn wall. Okay? No money, no points, no special privileges, no fucking field trips are going to stop me from having a meltdown. It's not going to happen. The rewards are not only used as immediate consequences for desired behaviors, but also to be earned through behavioral contracts. And let's talk about those rewards real quick. Eating your next bite of supper is not a reward, doctor. The fact that you make them earn every single bit of calorie intake throughout the day as a reward is disgusting, dehumanizing as fuck. A person shouldn't have to earn every single bite of their dinner, doctor. Kids, they go to bed without getting dessert. But most parents are going to make sure they're fucking well fed, whether they're misbehaving or not. Fucking kidding me right now? But if you display the desired behaviors and refrain from inappropriate behaviors, you get a reward. If I fake being neurotypical to your satisfaction, I get a cookie. Fan-fucking-tastic doctoring there, Dr. Israel. People seem to forget a lot. Neurodivergent or fucking smart. Or very smart. You really think we can't figure out how to game the system? Are you kidding me? Are we manipulative? Seeking attention? No. But when I mean play the system, I mean showing you what you want to see. Think we haven't figured out how to do that shit? Especially with your torture center that we wouldn't have incentive to do so? We are far smarter than the people give us fucking credit for. We understand a lot more than you give us credit for. It is bizarre to me, beyond bizarre to me, that you all just live it. You live the lie. You live the lie every day. You're rewarding us when we mask. You're rewarding us when, at least on the first surface, we seem to agree with you that who we are as individuals will never be good enough, should never be rewarded, should never be understood, should never be given any compassion. You see where I'm going with this, right? You see where it's psychologically damaging, even with their so-called rewards. You're rewarding me when I don't act like me. So you're telling me that who I am is not good enough. That I have to pretend to be someone else. In fact, I must hate myself with the same level of hate that you hate me with. And pretend to be someone else in order to get rewards or feel like I'm worth something. But they never want to talk about that elephant in the room, now do they? They don't want to talk about the fact that you are teaching generation after generation after generation of especially kids with ADHD and autism how to fucking hate ourselves. How we only deserve rewards when we're faking it. You see what I mean, right? Okay, so let's go over this, and I'm going to have to front load the other videos. What are we learning today, kids? The false premise that ABA is built on, and JRC then built their bizarre, psychotic, mass murdering cousin, is the false premise. They believe that the behaviors that they are trying to treat are willful. And because they believe that they are willful, they are wanting to try and stop the so-called reward that they think we're trying to get. They then bring in fucking counselors to try to argue us out of our neurology. Literally that, folks. That's literally what that number 2 is. That is literally trying to argue us out of being triggered in a particular way and acting within our neurology. You see how that's a joke, right? Their idea that by your bad behaviors, aren't you trying to get something? Don't you want attention or peer affirmation? Let me tell you about some autistics. We can give 2 shits about peer recognition. Unless my ass is going from a doctorate and I'm doing a dissertation, I could give 2 shits what my peers think of me. No fucks are given, folks. None. None. By the way, when I mention they infantilize us and treat us, we're a lot smarter than people give us credit for, folks. We know our peers are not going to give us some affirming responses to when we go fucking psycho, okay? We're not morons. Do keep up. And then the whole, but we eliminate the events that trigger. No, you don't. No, you don't, doctor. If you actually were eliminating the triggers, you would be actually delving in and find out what is actually the underlying issue, not just assuming you know everything and then acting accordingly. Can I say that for the people in the back? I'm going to say it again. You can't act off a presumption like that and then expect that type of treatment to work. But you're just wanting a response. No, we don't. No, we don't. Therefore, everything that proceeds out of it is going to be absolutely zero help. Zero help. Then they use the rewards for desired behaviors. But if you keep repeating it, won't it become ingrained? Maybe to a neurotypical it would. Maybe. But for us, it doesn't matter how many times we're rewarded for an appropriate behavior. It doesn't matter if you made us practice it in front of the mirror like over and over and over again till you can fake it and read it off a script like you're a goddamn pro. When my neurology gets triggered by an underlying issue, there is no drilling in better behaviors. There is no rewards. There's no bribe. There's no threat of violence. There is fucking nothing that you can throw at me that's going to stop me from snapping and engaging in those behaviors once it's already begun. Okay? People need to start understanding this. It's a temporary psychological fucking break. All right? This is what makes the JRC and their entire program so absolutely fucking batshit. And it makes their medicine pseudoscience. And bad pseudoscience at that. We'll close out on that. We don't get very many views on this channel, especially on this subject. The few that we do tend to get removed from time to time. So please don't forget to hit the like button, hit subscribe, and don't forget to hit the comments. I do appreciate your time this morning. And as always, we here at Spilling Tea hope you have a good one. Bye-bye.